look, I respect the hustle, but I'm not buying a house so I can rent out part of it so someone else can live. I'd rather just live in an apartment at that point, because I'm not doing that. I bought this house, I work hard for it, I'm gonna enjoy it to the fullest extent of my capabilities. Welcome back, YouTube. It's your host, Bruce GNT, and we are here to talk about affordability in Atlanta. So there is no secret. It's getting harder and harder to live here. It's getting harder and harder for people to afford just the simple things in life. And we're not even going to talk about the commute. We're not going to talk about the traffic, because that's a whole different story. I got caught up in the traffic earlier today, and I knew better too. That's the crazy part. I knew better, and I still got caught up in it. I was like, okay, I gotta be out of here before 2 o'clock, and whole nother story. But don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and comment down below. Look, it's getting harder. I know the prices around here are not easy. I do a lot of work pretty much all across the Atlanta area, and I see what these places cost. It's not cheap. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into this video.
Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan Martin. We all know living in Atlanta can be expensive, whether you're renting or buying a home, trying to afford college, or even pay for a wedding. In our Affording Atlanta series, we're taking a look at some ways you can save.
Let's go check it out, my friends.
Yes, thank you.
Jasmine Iverson is giving it another go. After bowing out of Atlanta's competitive housing market 2 years ago, the salon owner is in a better position to buy now.
For me now, I'm more established in my career. I'm making more money, and it makes more sense for me now.
Kitchen area.
Realtor Hubert Tate is showing this 3-bedroom home in East Point. With its proximity to downtown Atlanta, the airport, and major redevelopment projects in the works, he says East Point and zip code 30344 is one of the Metro's hottest and most affordable communities.
So it is a hidden gem of Fulton County.
There's a reason why, and no shade to East Point, but I drive a lot through there. They're honestly, I wouldn't say gentrifying it, but they're trying to build it up and like kind of revamp it a little bit. 'Cause I've seen it, but there's still some parts of East Point that have the East Point feel to it, if you know what I mean. And that's nothing against it. It's just that there's a reason why it's so affordable and so cheap, because a lot of people are moving out from that area because they don't feel safe, and it doesn't really fit their whole aesthetic. And then not only that, the commute is kind of trash. I've driven from East Point to Atlanta and back and forth. That's not an easy drive, especially when you get hit at that sweet spot of time. Whew, drive is tragic. I know it's on the rise, but there's a reason why the houses over there are relatively cheap and the renting is relatively cheap, because it's kind of rough over there.
Because prices are so low, like this house right here is under $300,000, it is still very, very affordable inside the perimeter in Fulton County.
He says the same is true for nearby Hapeville, where we found new construction around $400,000.
$400,000 is not cheap. And I didn't want to pause it here, but yeah, I go around Hapeville as well. That's another one too. I remember there's some new construction over there, because I'm always around new constructions. I saw the prices of it. It ain't cheap. Nice places, and they always like to put luxury on top of it. Trust me. I've been in some like the new developments before they finished like fully building it. It's not luxury. It's just a normal either townhouse or apartment. I'm seeing a lot of townhouses, not so much houses. Townhouses and apartments. Like I said earlier, it's not cheap over there. It's not cheap over there. A little bit closer to all the action, a little bit closer to the city, so to speak. And there's a lot more convenience. They're building up a lot of restaurants and everything like that. Most definitely. So it's on the up and up. But would I be paying $400,000 for it? No. I wouldn't.
And Tate says Atlanta's Upper West Side, also known as West Midtown, is attracting lots of new homeowners because the community is transforming.
30318, 30314, those areas are really moving. And primarily it's because a lot of investors are looking at that area. For instance, the city is putting the Bellwood Quarry there, which will be the city's largest park, as well as Chattahoochee Works, as well as other affordable housing projects that are happening.
Another hot zip code, 30310. With access to the Beltline and the popular Lee and White Food Hall, West End and Southwest Atlanta has become a go-to for many looking to find a more affordable home and live closer to the city.
So I like that there's a lot of sunlight.
For Jasmine Iverson, this home in East Point fits in her budget of $400,000. But living here would mean a longer commute to work. She's also considering safety and schools as she plans to have children. But in this housing market, she knows she may have to compromise on some things to find a home she likes and can afford. In East
Never compromise on safety, especially when you're planning to have kids and when you want kids. And even with schools as well, I would more so say don't even compromise with that, because the children are most important. So when it comes to safety in schools, those are things that I don't have any kids, but I'm just saying I think those are things that you don't want to compromise on. You want to make sure your children are safe, and you want to make sure they go to a decent school at the very least. I see a lot of these new developments. I see exactly what they're doing to them and everything like that. And they're building them up fast. They are building them up fast. And the biggest issue I have to say is that a lot of these developers, a lot of these companies, they're buying up the properties and building on them as fast as they can, trying to hurry up and get people in there. Because I see it, like they'll have the front half of a subdivision or apartment complex or a townhouse division completed, and they're trying to rush people in as fast as they can because they gotta make their return back. And another thing too, a lot of people like to say, because he said it earlier, oh, it's closer to the city. Yeah, you could be in Atlanta and still be like an hour away from Atlanta. So when people like to say close to the city, look, unless you are dead set next to where you're working in the city, you're not that close. You're never that close. I had to learn that the hard way. It's freaking insane, crazy.
Point, Jonathan Martin, 11 Alive News.
So this is the backyard.
Shante Hughes just furnished his basement.
I'm also going to put an actual full refrigerator here later on.
And is ready to rent it out.
So they have their own personal interests, so if they wanted to come in separate from where I come in.
He purchased his home in Morrow last year. He lives upstairs and plans to charge a tenant $1,200 a month to stay downstairs.
Having a tenant, the idea was getting someone here to make the home pay for itself.
He's among a growing number of homeowners turning to house hacking or purchasing a property, living in part of it, and renting out the rest as a way to reduce or eliminate living expenses.
This is definitely not easy. It's taking a lot of work, a lot of money.
Look, I respect the hustle, but I'm not buying a house so I can rent out part of it so someone else can live. I'd rather just live in an apartment at that point, because I'm not doing that. I bought this house. I work hard for it. I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest extent of my capabilities. The amount of money he's putting into it, hopefully he gets a return back on it. He most likely will, because a lot of people are really trying to like get out of certain areas, and they're trying to move out of apartments, even though this is kind of similar to an apartment. But they're really trying to do that and try to have their own home. Hopefully he goes through the vetting process, because I've seen a lot of, mostly apartment areas, they go through a lot of strife dealing with some of these tenants. Don't get me started with not paying rent on time. Come on, bro. At the very least, pay your rent. At the very least, pay your rent.
Money, a lot of time, and it's a lot that you have to do on your own. So.
Hughes works in film production, and when work slowed during last year's Hollywood strikes, he relied on extra income from having a tenant for a few months.
Bathroom.
But he also learned being a landlord can be a challenge when plumbing and other issues popped up.
We have to be responsible for all of the maintenance, everything. Like I can't call somebody to come in the same day and fix something. Like
I believe in house hacking. I think it's a great way for people to kind of stay ahead of the curve.
Real estate expert Daniel Dorfman runs Atlanta's Roots Investment Community. He says before you try this, make sure you have the right space and don't make changes that could decrease your home value.
Have the basement that could be converted. Have the, back of the house that can be converted. Don't just try and fit a space within your home that might not work.
And he says be sure you know the legal implications of being a landlord and are following city codes and HOA rules.
A lot of HOAs.
Woo! Them HOAs are crazy, man. They're like a mob. They want their money on time. And you best not step out of line. Step out of line, see what happened. Yeah, them HOAs don't play. I don't know who watches me, but I'm going to tell you what. If you're looking forward to doing this, be careful and properly vet who you're going to have living in your home, because it's dangerous out here. You don't want someone that, one, isn't going to pay the rent because... nah, I've seen that shit. Ain't cool. Two, is gonna bring like any type of danger or type of nonsense to your home. That's another thing you don't want. And three, someone that's able to really mix well with you, because it depends on what type of relationship you want to have with that person, because they're living in your home. Make sure it's something that is like professional while at the same time personal, to where, hey, look, you're able to comfortably address certain things that need to be talked about, and do it in a respectful way. But that's just what I would think would be the smart thing to do.
Don't even allow rentals, period. And sometimes they do put blocks on different roommate situations as well. So digest those rules, understand where your counties are, what your city rules are, what your county rules are.
Let me get out of his way.
For Shante Hughes, now comes the critical part, finding a tenant and vetting them. For him, it's someone who's low-key and looking to rent long-term.
Exactly, yeah.
From lower interest rates to free appliances, many builders are offering big incentives to get you into a home. Coming up, what you need to know before jumping on those promotions. After years of renting, Damon Smith is excited to finally be a homeowner.
My goal was to be in a house by the time I was 35, but I'm 36 now, but it finally happened. It feels great.
He felt sidelined by Atlanta's rising home prices and interest rates above 7%. Until he found this new community in College Park, where the builder...
It's crazy to actually know where that community is too, because I could just tell by the look. Even though a lot of these places look exactly the same, yeah, I know I could tell you exactly where it is.
Builder offered to pay $10,000 of closing costs and an interest rate under 5%.
For me, I wanted to jump on that because not only they were offering incentives and that was good for me, but it would help me to be able to keep more money in my pocket to be able to furnish this home and do other things.
In today's housing market, incentives are a lot more common as builders try to entice cash-strapped buyers. Builders often buy a large bulk of loans, allowing them to offer the buyer a lower interest rate.
Some are offering lower interest rates, closing costs, refrigerators, washer and dryer, blinds. They're doing everything they can to get people through the door.
But
yeah, I've seen apartment complexes and even some homes, they offer like certain appliances, just like we said, refrigerators and everything like that, TVs. A few offered furniture, like relatively new furniture. That was pretty interesting. And they know that a lot of people are leaving Atlanta. They're going to Houston and they're going to a little bit of the Midwest, because the Midwest is about to make a boom. I've been saying it for years. This is a random tangent, but I go up to Ohio and I've been to Wisconsin and everything like that. And there's the parts I was going to, I was like, yeah, this place is going to make a boom relatively soon. A lot of people are going to places like that because they just see, hey, look, it's getting too expensive. I can't afford to live here. I need to bump out before it gets like too drastic and I can't leave.
Realtor Hubert Tate with Keller Williams Buckhead says before jumping on these promotions, you need to know what conditions come with them.
A lot of the builders and developers, they're giving you these incentives, but you have to use their in-house lender or mortgage broker. And for some folks it works, for some it doesn't work at all.
He says it's also important to work with a realtor you trust so they can make sure the savings aren't being tacked on as other fees.
This is one bedroom here.
Damon says his home buying...
Why are his shorts so tight? God damn, I don't know how people be wearing these tight ass clothes, man, but I can't be wearing. Oh, I think he might be gay. Can I say that? Is that insulting? I don't think that's. I'm pretty sure he's gay. Metrosexual. 1 2. No offense. I'm just saying, like, the pants, the shorts is mighty tight. It's tight.
Process went smoothly. Now the Atlanta ICU nurse is ready to furnish his new home and hopes to keep more money in his pocket each month.
It worked out because honestly, my house note is cheaper than what I was paying in rent.
In College Park, Jonathan Martin, 11 Alive News.
Well, look, if you're out here trying to like make it into the hustle bustle of Atlanta, 1, be careful. 2, don't try to live outside your means. A lot of people out here are trying to live outside their means, and they're trying to live a lifestyle that they have no business trying to live. 'Cause I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you can't swing with it when it comes to the prices of things, then maybe you should live within your means and kind of like, you know, scale things down a bit. You know, these people, it's things I tell people all the time because I'm seeing more and more people trying to live outside their means and live a certain lifestyle where it's like, look, maybe this isn't you right now, but you can work your way up to it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, be safe and understand where you're gonna move to. Like, really research the area, the schools, depending if you have kids or not, and also really look into who's the developer of these homes. I'm not gonna talk bad about any of these developers, but a little bit what I know is that some of them are not as up to par as other ones. Some of them, they build these houses and they build them fast. They like that. I've seen it. Do your due diligence. That's the only thing I gotta say. And look, don't be afraid to take your time and just wait. If you're trying to hurry up and get into a home, slowly roll. There's nothing wrong with renting, especially if you're going to like find a way to kind of save money. I know it's harder to save money nowadays, especially what's going on, a lot of layoffs and everything like that. I understand that, but better you try to save some money so you can move into the house that you really want to later on in life than to rush into something and then you're house poor. That's the last thing you want. That's it for this video. You guys know the drill. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment down below. Tell me like your experience, whether you visited the Atlanta area or whether you live here, and just tell me what you went through when it came to renting or just getting a home, and any advice that you may have for other people, or even for myself, because I don't know everything. I know a little bit, but not everything. And I would really like to hear from you guys. And subscribe if you want more. Peace.